Hey, huh? Pretty nice. So, I am feeling incredible right now. More incredible than I usually feel. And I usually feel pretty incredible. And the reason why are those flowers. And I will tell you why in a moment. But in the meantime, I just want to let you know everything is going fantastic. This past weekend, if you saw, I tweeted about it. I had my first party in my new place, and we have a pool and a sauna and a hot tub and all that stuff. And some great things about the party. Unfortunately, the bad thing was that I never got a chance. The part of the party was I introduced a keg of kombucha, and the particular kombucha was pressed ginger and lime kombucha. And the reason I was kind of hinting at it, the reason why I did that specific flavor was we made and perfected, in my opinion, the original. Well, I'm not sure if it's original, but it's the most awesome kind. The most awesome kind of kombucharita. Now, I played around with like 20 different recipes, and this is, in my opinion, by far the most tastiest, the most special, and the healthiest for you as well. The problem was I had such a good time at the pool party, and everyone was having such a good time, I never got a chance to make the video. So I'm recreating the vibe with the sunglasses, the bathing suit, and shout out to Beauty and the Beast mode, my Manhattan Beach dodgeball team, rocking our uniform. Okay, so yeah, so today I'm going to be showing you guys the instructional video on how to make the best kombucharita. It's summertime. It's time to enjoy life and have a good time. The problemo is that usually my film guy helps me out with this stuff, so he's not here, which means I'm going to be doing everything myself, and I want to make sure that you see some of the specifics, so it might be a little bit of close-ups and then a tripod to help out. But we are keeping professional. I got the light and everything. Also feeling maybe a little pumped up because I did about 2 shots of wheatgrass after I had some of my ginger lime kombucha today. I have not had any of the kombucharitas yet today. So that's not why I'm feeling this good. And in the future, we're going to be showing you guys actually how to build a Kegerator. So I purchased this small refrigerator, and the one that I'm going to be putting together myself is going to have 2 kegs. 2 kegs will actually fit in here, which is nice because then you could have 2 different flavors on tap. And then simply this guy will sit right on top. So I want you to imagine, this connected to this, and then all you have to do is just draw a draft of kombucha. I mean, can you just imagine people coming over and, to your place? First off, the convenience of this, once it's set up and once you learn how to keg, once you know how to do it the right way, it is so much easier than bottling. It takes all the guesswork out of creating fizz and things like that, and you don't have to worry about exploding bottles because kegs hold a lot of pressure, so you don't have to worry about over fizzing your brew. But in the meantime, we went ghetto, and I'll show you what I've been doing the last couple of months, experimenting on my own. Boom! You guys see that? So I had to rearrange my refrigerator. Now, you may notice soda in my fridge. I do drink a soda on occasion, but this was for the picnic. I'm not sure if I should show those things. But you can take a look at my fridge. I got my almond milk going. Got my coconut water, fruits and vegetables. I do drink that stuff. Not gonna lie, love that stuff. And I absolutely love ginger. So tons and tons of ginger. But the main star is this guy. So this is probably the hardest part of the video. I'm going to draw some with one hand so I could film as well. But look how awesome that is. Oh, I love it. And I'm going to shut it off. Okay, so now this is the ginger lime kombucha, and we also used a special tea. We did use some of our kombucha tea blend, but we also used some of our white special Strawberry Fields white tea blend because it's great for the summertime, and we found that it works great for mixing. If you're using kombucha to use as a mix, either an alcoholic drink or a non-alcoholic drink, it just adds a nice little flavor, some other character notes to it. I mentioned that before that For newbies, yes, when you flavor your kombucha, the best time to flavor is usually after you prepare your kombucha tea. However, flavoring can start at the beginning, way before kombucha becomes kombucha. And what I mean by that is when you're preparing your nutrient solution, which is just a fancy word of saying, your tea, your sweet tea, so to speak, before the fermentation process. Obviously, the ingredients you use will affect the outcome of your kombucha. So higher quality tea, higher quality types of sugar, a good water source, whether it's spring water or a filter water, things like that, all affect the outcome, right? The ingredients you put into it will affect the outcome, the enjoyment, the quality of your kombucha tea. So naturally, changing up the type of tea you use will also change up the type of flavor the kombucha will have. Okay, here we go. Now we're going on to professional tripod mode. And let's go. All right. Beautiful. So at the party, we did just use, you see that? So this is just cut up oranges and limes. And if you wanted to make an easy, quick and easy kombucharita, you would just, what we did was, you fill it up with ice, fill a glass up with ice, and you squeeze a half of a lime, so 2 of these wedges, and a half of an orange, so 2 of these wedges, so it's like equal amounts, okay? But I wanted to add something a little special to my kombucharita, and also if you're preparing a party with lots and lots of people, it's sometimes good to prep a little bit ahead of time, okay? So, I have my Omega. I love this juicer. I love it originally I loved it because of wheatgrass and leafy greens. A lot of the juicers, I hope you guys can see me in this camera, a lot of the juicers out there just spin around real quick, and those are great. Listen, they're less expensive, and in my opinion, it's better to, you know what? It really depends on the situation. For me, though, I knew that juicing was something I wanted to do from the get-go, so I purchased a nicer juicer because in the long run it made sense, rather than buying a small juicer, and then buying a nicer juicer. But see for yourself what works. I will say this though, I did also notice now, preparing these drinks, that the Omega is also nice because it will juice softer fruits, peaches in particular. So, to kick up my kombucharita, in addition to orange and lime, I also juice peaches. And I wanted to show you, I think this is a pretty cool way. A lot of people are like, how the heck do you juice a peach? Because you can't juice the pit. So this is how you do it. Oh yeah, cool. Let's see if we get even closer in here. Oh wow, huh? Great. So you would just cut it, you kind of like roll it. So imagine the knife stands still and the peach, you just turn the peach. Okay, isn't that cool? So especially if the peach is nice and ripe and juicy. And same thing, so you slice down and then you just roll it. Eat your heart out, Martha Stewart. Now look at this, look how cool this is. It should just peel. See that? It just peels away. Kind of like an avocado, I guess. A lot of people, that's how they prepare an avocado. Alright, so now you have your peach bits. Let me turn this back on. Alright, so in my recipe, what I found that works the best is equal proportions, right? So, for every peach you use a lime, and you use an orange. And the reason why, in my opinion, it works so well is because just the sizes of them, obviously, so it's not equal amounts of liquid you're going to get, but the proportions work great when it's 1-1-1. Experiment on your own, but that's a good place to start. So, if you want to make a big batch, you can do 4 oranges, 4 peaches, 4 limes, and see how that works for you. Alright, so now we have our juice, and we will, let's see, we'll be moving this a little bit over here. Alright, so we have our kombucha, and like I said, if you're making a kombucharita, let's start with flavoring that kombucha as our base. And I flavored mine with ginger lime. Makes sense because margaritas tend to, always, as far as I know, have lime in it. And I like ginger because it helps the digestive system. I love it. I think it tastes really well, and in my opinion, also cuts down the. It just goes really well with the alcohol, with a lime and tequila feel. Okay. All right. The other note, though, to point out is, I'm just going to drink some while we're at it. Oh my goodness, it's so good. Is the traditional margarita is usually made with lime, not lime juice, but like a lime syrup, or lime juice. The fresh one would be lime juice and simple sugar, and something like a triple sec, which is really an orange liqueur, which also has lots of sugar in it. So even with the fresh juice, because kombucha is pretty low on the sugar scale, you might need to sweeten up your drink, so to speak. I prefer using agave. Now there's lots of controversy on agave in terms of even the raw agave, just the amount of high fructose sugar that's found in it. Even though it doesn't spike your, it's low glycemic, it could wreak havoc on your liver. So experiment, but in my opinion, using a little bit to flavor your margarita is way better than tons of that like sugary lime syrup stuff that sits on a shelf. You know, using fresh juices and using a little bit of agave. You could also use honey. I find though, mixing honey is a lot harder to mix than agave. Okay. Okay. So here's how we do it. We first have our just regular mixing glass, so to speak. Fill that up with ice. And you want to fill it up with ice all the way. And the reason why is you want to chill this as quickly as possible. And something I learned in bartending is you add the liquor first. So measure out as much as you want, but we'll do one shot. All right. And I prefer using a clear tequila. Another reason why I think agave works well is that tequila, at least the 100% pure kind, is made with agave also. So you got a theme going on. All right. Next step, and here's a little cool tip, is when you're garnishing, help yourself out a little bit and cut a little line with the knife in between your lime so that it helps out a lot easier. Okay, so this is the glass we're eventually going to be serving this in, and you just want to rim the glass. Okay, so you got the lime juice on it, and then you got a plate of salt. Now we're just using a sea salt that is the fine sea salt. I know traditionally you use a rock sea salt. There's pros and cons. You get more of a salt taste with the smaller salt. Plus, this was all I had in my apartment. Alright. Now, you're also using fresh ice. Okay, so you're not using the ice that you're mixing it with. You're using fresh ice, and you don't have to use as much. Okay? So, the ice in here is meant to, you know, chill that tequila, get it nice and cold. You know, also mellow it out by diluting it a little bit, but this is why you use a lot of ice. And then on this one, you can just use, you know, 3 or 4 ice, so you actually have room for your beverage. All right. So we have one shot in here, and then what I do is, again, it's a little guesswork, but it's equal parts kombucha and your juice mix. Okay. But before we do that, we want to incorporate the agave. Now the agave, you don't want to put in the ice right away because you want it to mix, and things mix a lot easier when they're warmer, right? If you ever tried mixing, I don't know, anything. Oh, when you make your regular kombucha tea, if you put your sugar in room temperature water, the sugar won't dissolve, okay? So, an easy way to do that is, I'm going to drink a little more of this because I know this is way too much for one serving. And I know you're supposed to be sipping your kombucha, but sometimes it's really, really good, and you can't help yourself. All right, a teaspoon of agave. That's what I recommend. That's about a teaspoon. And just to give you guys an idea, a tablespoon is 16 grams of sugar. I believe there's 3 teaspoons in a tablespoon. Maybe it's 2.5. but you know, we just pretty much raised our sugar content by 6 grams. I know a traditional margarita could have as much as 55 grams of sugar. So even with this, the fruit juice, and your kombucha, we're still looking at something significantly less. And also, if you don't want the agave, you know, don't add it. I know the more peach you add, and orange you add versus the lime, the higher fructose content, specifically your kombucharita, will be. All right. So what I like to do too before I add it is just kind of give this a quick mix by going back and forth. Now this seems like a really long thing to do, but obviously you'd be prepping this, so you'd already have a container of your pre-mixed juice that you just shake up every time you want to pour it in. Probably you could add the agave right into your pre-mixed juice if you're shaking it to get it going. Okay, and you're adding your juice. Okay. So like I said, this would be better if you had like a bottle that you could be shaking it already in. But I'll just be stirring it up. Little darling. Shout out to Bob Marley. And all right, let's pour that into the ice. Beautiful. Now this alone you could drink and taste test. Oh, that is so good. My goodness. All right, and so we have a mixing glass here. It's a ghetto mixing glass. It's not really a mixing glass, but it will work for now. And you gotta shake it up. And try not to make a mess. So, yeah, I put too much in. Oh my goodness. Cool. All right. And then finally, I know it's tempting. Now you could serve it just like this. I prefer having fresh ice, like I mentioned, so that I can make a mess when I try to do an old bartending trick, and kind of like get a little bit of space in between these 2 cups, and voila. Impress your friends at a party. I recommend not doing this over white carpet. And here's another trick. If the drink isn't enough because you drank too much while you were taste testing it, shh, I can't believe, guys, I'm giving out all these secrets. Just add some more ice to it, and they'll never know. Okay, remember that lime that we cut a little half into? Well, we're going to bring it right back. Okay, final touch. Boom. Can you taste that? Do you see how delicious that is? My goodness. All right. So, that is our kombucharita. Cheers. You're getting something way tastier, in my opinion, than the traditional like syrupy mess that they're serving at most bars today. Friends and family that come over will get an experience, not just an alcoholic beverage. You're also helping out your liver, because if you're going to mess it up a little bit with the consumption of alcohol, you're using things like ginger, like probiotics, like tea, camellia sinensis, adaptogens, and things like that. Things that are alkalizing to the body. Remember, not just kombucha, but what else do we put into it? Well, we put lime into it, which is also alkalizing to the body. We're using, in my opinion, better sugar sources, such as from fruit, fresh squeezed fruit juice, agave, versus just you know, chemicals and things like that. And yeah, it's just a fun way to enjoy the summer. So, why do I feel so incredible because of those flowers over here? Well, if you notice, these flowers, there's not too many of them in here. This is something I started doing, and I know you might be thinking, oh, well, Dave moved out to LA, so now he's like all hippy-dippy, but actually when I was in finance, like 57 years ago, it seems like, but you know, like 10 years ago, I used to, on Fridays when I'd come home, I lived in Hoboken and worked in Wall Street, like, you know, in the financial district of Manhattan. So when I came home, you pass by these green grocers, and I'd always pick up some flowers, and on the walk home, I'd usually give a flower out to a stranger. Sometimes if I saw a homeless person, I'd give them a flower, or just a random person that just like needed a jolt, I felt like. I don't know, something like that. And I haven't done it in a while. So I started the last couple of times I go to, these are from Trader Joe's. Shout out to Trader Joe's. The last couple of times I've been to Trader Joe's, when I get flowers, I would when I leave, like the toll booth person in the parking garage or whatever, I'd give them a flower, and it was awesome. Like, because that person, I mean, maybe it's not true for everyone, but I think like that job, you could get stuck in autopilot, right? Because it's just a very routine type day-to-day in terms of activities, and just seeing their reaction of giving them a flower was just like the coolest thing. And by the way, I'm selfish, because I'm not doing this really for them. I'm doing this for me. It makes me feel really good. So then I started thinking like, well, if that's true, right? If like me doing something nice for somebody makes me feel better than actually the person receiving it, well, who knows, right? Why don't I give them that opportunity to kind of be selfish through an act of kindness? So today, when I went to pick these guys up, when I gave the toll booth person a flower, I gave her 2 flowers, and I'm like, hey, this one's for you, and then I want you to give the second one to someone who you think might also enjoy it. And oh my goodness, like seeing her, like it was just nuts, because now you're like giving her the power, so to speak, to also do really good things, and it's just a really cool thing. And I'm not telling you to do this, but what I am saying is maybe consider doing this once, just once, whether it's this flower thing or something like this, and see how you feel afterwards. I mean, my whole thing is don't discredit something, and don't also credit something until you try it for yourself. So don't say like, okay, I need to do this because blah, 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 and then don't do it. Or don't say, I'm never going to do this because of blah, 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 and don't do it. Do it, see how you feel, see what it does to you, and then, judge for yourself. Anyway, it's a long video. I hope you got some value out of it. Summertime is going to be freaking awesome. We're very, very excited here at Get Kombucha. We have big things. We're changing our website to make it a lot more user-friendly and community-friendly, right? So we want to continue. The mission since day one was to make this a community. Unfortunately, some of our technology is a little old, and it doesn't really fit into that mission, especially nowadays with the amazingness of, things like Facebook and commenting and things like interaction and all that stuff. So stay tuned. I don't know if it's going to take weeks or a month or so, but thank you so much for your continued support. I feel weird because I'm just still holding these flowers. And have a beautiful week, and happy brewing.